Salute, Nick family. Welcome to the Queen's Court. I'm your host, Stephanie, aka Queen. And as always, we got lot to talk about and a little bit of time. The Knicks played Detroit at 7 p.m. Talking about needing a win. I think the Knicks are 2-6, if I'm not mistaken, after going on a 9-game win streak. We're without OG Anunoby, Randall, Mitch. It's been a bit rough for the Knicks. At the same time, we need these wins. We're 2.5 games out of third place, but we're also 2.5 games out of seventh place, which is the play-in. And when healthy, the Knicks are one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference, top two, top three, in my opinion. But when you're not healthy, a lot can happen. So let me bring in my guests for today, Stafford Don and Ajay. How are you? Shout out to the chat, by the way. Appreciate you guys rocking with us. And then the replay gang, always appreciate you guys. How y'all doing?
Yo,
Salute, 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 salute.
Queen, I'm good. It's always a pleasure and an honor to be hanging out with you, especially on NBK.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah, no
Mama,
doubt.
we made it. We made it, Ajay.
Oh yeah,
We on
NBK now, baby.
MBK.
Top notch right there.
Right. Salute to Jarrell in the chat. Wonder Woman, Kareem Grant, my brother. I appreciate you. Oh man. Well, first, you know what? Before we even start, I just want to give a shout out to the Brew Crew Sports, Jigga, Phil, Hector, and everybody else who showed up and really showed out at Blarney Stone for the Knicks versus Boston game. The love in that building, usually you'd be surprised because you're like, wow, it's different races and nationalities and everybody. No, it was different takes in the building, and we all got along. There was Randall supporters and haters. There was Tibbs supporters and haters. Um, Different takes in the room, but the love was there. Um, Nobody took it. Nobody was taking it personal in terms of who you like and who you didn't like. And it was just a great feeling. And shout out to Monica McNutt, who came through and just rocked with us for most of, if not the entire night, for most of the night. Um, and the people I met, Nick and Nada, Julian Blum, Jack City, yeah, a few others. Y'all know my condition. I ain't gonna remember everybody. I got to also, um, Nick of Time, Jay Ellis, big time fan. I used to listen to his podcast, so it was good to see him and Eb. Anyway, anyway, let's move on. Um, let's talk about this week's game. Let me just bring this up, give everyone a sense of just where we're at. So currently, the Knicks are 34-23 in the Eastern Conference, 1-3 over our last four. Still fourth in the Eastern Conference. We lost the last game to Boston. Overall, and this is for the entire season, the Knicks are still top 10 in offensive, defensive, and net rating. However, over the last 4 games, um, and maybe even more than that, the Knicks are 10th in offensive rating, 26th in defensive rating, and 22nd in net rating. So the injuries have really taken a toll on the Knicks statistically, um, game wise. Um, it just hasn't been great for us. These are our last 4 games. 2 of them were before the All-Star break and 2 after. Remember the losses to Houston and Orlando? Somebody's mic, there's some noise coming through somebody's mic. Let me see. Yeah, that was you, Staff. I got it. Um, we lost to Houston and Orlando, beat
Asterisk.
Philly. Yeah, lost to Boston. In that Houston game, Brunson with 27, Achua with 17. Orlando, Brunson 33, Achua 14. Achua has been playing really, really well for us. Philadelphia, Bogdanovich with 22, Hart with 12 rebounds. And against Boston, Brunson 34, Achua 9. He's really, really been rebounding the ball, playing really good defense. I'm not sure how much we have without the rest of our guys back, and we'll talk more about it. But who and what has stood out for you over the last, let's just say you could take the whole 4 games if you want, or after the All-Star break, the 2 games that we've played, who and or what has stood out for you? Staffer, you muted.
Um, well, I mean, what has stood out so far is that the team still puts out effort, maximum effort going out there and play. They still playing hard, they still grinding it out, which us New Yorkers, we love to, we love seeing our team to play hard. I like for the past couple of games, I've been hard on Josh Hart, but he has been letting it fly, and he has been producing the way that we want him to. Um, Another thing is that even though we are shorthanded, um, I think the additions have been good and bad. So when I say that, I'll say, for the few games that Bogey and Burks played, I would say, Bogey gave us 22 points in one game, and you know, his lack of defense make him, get bullied in the last game that made coach take him out, because he was a liability. Brown was abusing him, but he's still an excellent 3-point scorer. He's a spacer, and we need those points from him. And as far as Burks, he's I think he's the one that stood out, like, to me, basically the whole rest of the games, because he's been very awful. He's not connecting on the shots. Um, yeah, his initiation for the offense. I don't think he's getting people in the right position. I think he's just looking for his shot first. So
Yeah.
Burks need to tighten up, and play the ball that we want him to play and be more consistent. But but despite all of the injuries, I think we're still playing hard, and I think that's a good thing in my eyes.
Do you think that point guard position, um, when we talk about Burks, I know Tibbs will have Burks and McBride out there. Sometimes McBride is running the point. Sometimes, Burks is running the point. But to your point, to your point, when Burks is on the point, I don't know, maybe it's going to take him some time to settle in, coming from Detroit. But you're right. He just seems all over the place. I think he works better playing off the ball, having somebody set him up. And I think that very well may come back to bite us, even when we're all healthy. We shall see. Ajay, who and what has stood out
Uh,
for you?
so I mean, there's some good, some bad, and some ugly. Um, so the good is, listen, this team never stopped fighting. Okay, I mean, this team's gonna keep coming at you. The offense is we still pretty good on offense, but the defense, well, all the good stuff first. Jalen Brunson's been on fire, unstoppable, to the point that I don't know if you guys noticed, the Boston strategy is like literally give up on Brunson's because we can't stop him. So let's just shut down the second and third options. Do you know what I'm saying? So they literally gave up on trying to guard Brunson, which was great. So it's kind of, I guess the league kind of realized that, all right, we can't stop that guy. Just forget about him. Let's just try to plug all the other holes. I think that's what they try to do. Um, of course,
You think that's great. I think that's a concern, but
no, it is, but I'm saying great for Bronson, like what we've been talking about in terms of him being a superstar, him being the man, him being the guy, him being that dude. Great in that sense. Yeah,
right,
basketball
right.
wise, we'll talk about that later. That
Okay.
it is a concern because you know, well, it's a concern now because of all the other injuries. But when we have all our guys back, you
Mhm.
can't do that because
Okay.
you
Right.
can't leave Brunson and then think you're going to shut down Julius Randle because you're going to get hurt. Same thing with OG Anunoby, who could easily, he dropped 15, 18. We've seen him to have quiet games where he dropped 15 points,
Mhm.
very quietly.
Mhm.
Do
Mhm.
you know what I'm saying? So, and if we have these other two guys on the floor, you're not going to be able to shut down Dante DiVincenzo. Okay, so Precious Achua, of course, another good because he's been playing um, better than everybody thought he could. Everybody except for some who actually know like he had it in him. He just didn't get the opportunity. He's been
Now, he
playing
got
really
the opportunity. He just wasn't good at. He was inconsistent in the opportunity. He was starting for Miami at some
oh yeah.
point. He
Oh, he
he
was a
filled
rookie.
in.
He was a rookie. Like he's 4 years in now.
All right,
It's
but he
it's a
filled
different.
in. I
Yeah.
understand, but he filled in significantly in Toronto as well when they had injuries. He was just up and down. I
Yeah.
think he's just found his footing here.
Mhm. I know you want to credit tips, but that's another conversation.
No.
And listen, a couple of other goods that I want to mention, and I wish Jarrell was here for the few minutes that Jericho Sims had. He's been playing. Like he's been doing his part. If at the very least on defense, or put a body in front of those people so they don't just have a free pass to the basket. He's been doing his part. That's another thing. And of course, Deuce is not getting a lot of playing times. I really think Thibodeau should reconsider that. Like he really should, because especially and that segue into the bad, Alec Burks is well, actually that jumps over to the ugly. At some point, Thibodeau's just got to understand that if Alec Burks, if he's not in the groove yet, you got to work him in slowly. Maybe he's not the same Alec Burks from 2 years ago where we had him, or maybe he's lost because one of the advantages and one of the reasons why I'm sure Queen you were pushing for Alec Burks is because he already knows the system. He's a microwave scorer. He could come in and jump. He knows what Tibbs need, but he hasn't shown that since he's been here. Since he's been here, he's really has not been super helpful. And Tibbs got to understand that it's tough for a coach to do because you want to allow the guy to get in the groove, but at the same time, you really don't have a lot of time to get that done. You have to be able to recognize when he doesn't have it. Deuce, for some reason, he's always ready. He's always ready. Even when he's not scoring the ball, he comes in and do all the other little things that helps you win. And I think, that you got to be able to understand that. The bad, and I don't want to not talk about the bad, is how tough it is for us to defend when we don't have the our unit as a whole. And we've complained that Julius Randle, he's not a great on-ball defender, but for some reason, when he's there, we're a better defensive team, right? And all these guys, like we need all these players to be in here in order to be that tough defensive team that we are. And that's I can't even I can't even put my finger on it, like because these guys that are out there, they're trying, they're playing defense, but it's just not working out as a unit for some reason. So we getting run over.
Because when you think about it, you can argue, and we're just talking on the defensive and not on the offensive end. President Chua defensively, you could say he's as good or even better than Julius Randle defensively.
Mhm.
And he's been really, really good on the boards as of late, you know. Um, and Mitchell Robinson, we already know where he was heading, but he's been out, and our defense had recovered even when he was out. So is it? I mean, it's OG, of course, but I think it's also Hartenstein being hurt. And then I also think you're working in new guys, so your rotations are not as tight. You're just not playing with the same guys. They're not used to playing with each other. When you have Bojan out there, you really have to have a strong defensive team around him. But who's that defensive team? OG is out. Hartenstein is hurt. You could play him with Hart and Achua and DiVincenzo, and you know, I guess instead of Brunson, put in McBride. Like you really have to cover him up,
Hmm.
you when you put him out there. But I agree with you. The defense is just really going south, and then
Yeah.
also I think the offense, particularly against Boston, when when they either make it hard for Brunson or just say they're going to give him his. Who else is scoring
Nobody else.
consistently?
Yeah.
DiVincenzo has had good games. You know, um, Precious is not a scorer. Hartenstein is not a scorer. Hart is not a scorer. You know what I mean? Burks and Bojan, if they're on, great. If they're not, so we have shooting on this team, but do we have scoring?
And I think Boston made a conscious effort to go after DiVincenzo. I didn't understand the strategy at first, but it seems like it worked. You know what I'm saying? Like they made it real tough and sticky for him.
Mhm.
Like he never got in the groove that whole game. So it's not because he didn't have a good game. It's because they actually purposely jammed him. So
Yeah, Jam too. I'm sorry.
DiVincenzo.
Right,
I'm saying they made it tough for him like all night, all game long. They did.
right. And this is what I mean in the playoffs, having guys who can score despite the attention. But to your point earlier, Debo will have more. It's easier to do this when Randall is out and OG is out. It's easier to do that. When those guys come back, it's going to be really difficult. You're going to have to choose what you're going to do. Whether you're going to pack in the paint or tend to the 3-point shooters. But I want to put up this comment by King Third Eye Supreme. Um, because I was listening to, I think it was Nick Film School. Shout out to Jonathan Macri and the work they do over there. And he had someone on, I forget who was in agreement. He wanted the Knicks to stand pat, maybe not stand pat, but not trade Grimes in this particular trade. Um, but King Third Eye Supreme said, I don't know, guys, but I probably would have stood pat and kept Grimes. He's way better overall than Burks. What you guys thought? Is that your sentiment that you would have? I mean, even if it's not Grimes better than Burks, but is your sentiment you would have stood pat and not make the trade?
I mean, I think I said this before. Um, Grimes was just lacking confidence, and if he had been more aggressive, take more initiation in showing your aggression, I think we would have stand pat. He would have been right there with the team as far as being on another level and being grown because the team has grown. And bringing in somebody like Burks, who's been a 10-year vet and who knows Tom's system and who makes big shots. Not saying Grimes did not make big shots when he was here, but I think Burks' resume is a little more extensive because Grimes just got into the league. Now, overall, going into his career, yes, I think Grimes will be a better player than Burks. just because of the age wise and the ceiling for Grimes. But for right now, to answer that question, you know, it was just time for Grimes to go. We needed someone to be more aggressive and make the timely shots that we need. Now, Queen, I have to agree with you. Right now, I think it's just chemistry also too. That's why he's really not in the groove, and it'll take a little time for us to work together and for his shot to gel. So I'm not going to give up on Burks, but I just think that we needed something more potent at that position and at this time right now, the ceiling where we at right now. To get through the playoffs, we needed somebody like Burks. So, and it's no slight to Grimes. That's my guy. But I just think it was the right move.
AJ?
Well, um, so and I think I could speak for a lot of fans. It's just that we were hoping that Grimes, we could get a better return on Grimes. Like, and it's not that the return is bad. It's just that we kind of built it up. We kind of tortured ourselves in that sense, thinking that they're saving Grimes for the big chip. Grimes plus Fournier's salary plus all the great assets we have. We thought we was gonna bring in somebody like boom boom that's gonna make a huge difference. All right, and not that to say that those guys aren't gonna make a big difference. Now, so the move, it's not. I don't think the front office think that Burks is better than Grimes. It's just a matter of timing because they feel that at this point we're ready to go a little bit further than we can go with Quentin Grimes. Quentin Grimes is like he's too wet behind the ears. Like we need that veteran, that guy who's been there, who's been in big games, that guy who could, it's not. I don't think it's a matter of, and listen. I hope the front office don't think Alec Burks is more talented than Quentin Grimes. It's just that right now Burks could be more useful than Quentin Grimes. It's not a matter of talent. It's just a fit, better usage. You could get better usage out of if Burks is the same Burks, like, and he has yet to prove that he's the same Burks from a couple of years ago. But if he is, and I agree with them that you can get better out of Alec Burks than you can get out of Quentin Grimes. I mean, Quentin Grimes, you don't know where he's going to end up. He might turn out to be the next, I don't know, Devin Booker, or he might be the next Frank Ntilikina. We don't know, but we just don't have the time or the luxury to wait to find out. So that's why they made the trade, not because they think Burks or Bogdanovich is better than Quentin Grimes. I don't think. Queen, I think you muted.
I think the other part of it is you can have a particular skill, but it's also about not getting overwhelmed in the playoffs when the lights are a little brighter. And I think whenever you have young guys, that's always that can happen. And so, and listen, Burke's shot can go south in the playoffs too. Don't get me wrong. But to your point, Ajay, I think I think there were a lot of factors. I think there was some non-basketball factors as well. Contract, getting off of Fournier, Bojan being a better asset in the offseason than Fournier. Like there were multiple reasons for this particular trade. None of these guys have money past this year. I think Bojan has I think a two like a buyout or something or what is it called? I think it's two. You can pick up in his option and only owe him 2-3 million or something like that.
Yeah, I think he has an option. Yeah, I
Right,
think he has a 19 million option, something like that.
right. And I think it is true that Grimes is a better perimeter defender than Burks. It is. But it's more than that going into the playoffs. It's more than that. You got to be able to hit shots and you can't freeze up in the playoffs. Now, this would be his second time around, so I would think it would be different. I don't know if I can blame them for wanting to have more experience going into the playoffs. And I don't think Grimes, when this team wins a ship, I don't think Grimes, Bogey, or Burks would be or would have been on that team. Like I don't think Grimes would make it to, whenever the Knicks win a championship, Grimes wasn't going to be on that team. And Burks and Bergie are not going to be on that team either. So is it are we being too hard on Burks? And we haven't even spoke about Bogdanovich yet, given that they've only been in on a team for like 4 games on a team where the roster is not set and people are playing different roles. You think we're being a bit too hard on them?
I'll go first. So, no, we're not, because one of the reasons, like we said, that they brought in those guys is because they are more experienced, right? When you're more experienced, we expect you to adjust, to be not plug and play, but you don't need like a whole half a season to get your stuff together. And
Mhm.
more so Alec Burks, who, in Queen, you've said it a million times, like you want Burks because he already knows the system. He already this, he already that. He's been here. So no, we're not being hard. We're not going to give him a half a season to get his game together. Like he's going to have to, he needs to come in and listen. He's been in the league like, I don't know, 10 years, whatever. You got to be able to plug and play, man. You don't need a whole season to adjust.
He's coming over from a new team. Do you think if you're staggering lineups and Burks is in there with Brunson, I think you're going to see a better Burks. If Burks is in there with I don't know, DiVincenzo, and if he's playing off the ball, I think you're going to see a better Burks. I think Burks on the ball, running the offense, is just not a good look. His
Well,
decision making is just not
th-
that great.
then we have a problem, because we actually brought him here to be a better Burke, when, in, like you like to call him, those non-Brunson minutes, right? Because we've established that Deuce McBride can't run the team. He's a better off guard. He's better off the ball. So Alec Burks is here just to eat up some of those non-Brunson minutes. That's why he's here. So he needs to be better when
But that was
Brunson's not on the court.
right. But it's not his fault that the front office and maybe even Tibbs brought him in this role, because I think part of it also, I mean, listen, we've talked about this. We've talked about,
So we
at
did.
least I've talked about it. I felt the Knicks needed a legitimate backup point guard, playmaker with some experience. And I thought that was tantamount. You know what I mean? Going into the playoffs. They may have thought like, do we want to give up assets to have somebody that's only going to play 10 minutes behind um, Brunson? Do we want to pay big money and give up assets to bring in a Brogdon who can play both the one and the two? Do we want to give up even more assets to bring in a DeJounte Murray who can run with Brunson and then also run the second team? To me, honestly, this is what I think it comes down to. The Knicks want to stay as flexible as possible for the offseason because they believe, well, I think they believe that there are some teams that's going to get jammed up against this second apron and it's going to have to release some really good players. And they want to be in position to grab one of them, And I think this was just about, I don't think, honestly, I don't think the front office is focused on this season. I think they're like, we're happy. We feel like we have a championship contending team. We feel like this team, if healthy, can go deep. I think the Knicks front office is like, maybe, maybe not, but we're not going all in this season. We're not giving up our flexibility to go all in this season. We're going to give you these two. Do what you can, see how far you can go, but we're not going to get Brogdon and Murray. We're not going deep. We're not going all in. And I think that is part of why we're sitting here
I
without a
mean,
backup point guard.
if what you're saying is right,
Mhm.
um, then the whole point of giving up Quentin Grimes for those two guys is nullified, because they obviously made that move because they're looking at this team this season. They said we can get somewhere with this. Let's get some more scoring. Let's, so if they're not doing that, then it's completely confusing to me that the move that they did. Because if you're not willing to, if they felt, and I don't think they felt like Brogdon was better. I think they made what they thought was also a basketball. If they felt Brogdon was better, they should have coughed up whatever they needed to do to get him. Because right now because remember, one of our complaints is that they never picked a direction. They picked a direction, and we going in right now. And if we going in, if we gotta give up what we got to give up to get the guy who's going to get us there, they should have done that. Because
But
if that's they half stepping. If what you're saying is right, then they half stepping right now.
but do you think it's half stepping if they're saying we're going all in, but we don't want to go all in right now because we think there'll be better players available in the summer. We're going all in, but because I would be like, as much as I wanted DeJounte Murray, I, I probably would have been in the summer like, heck, because we got DeJounte, we couldn't have got, so and so, right? Because DeJounte's, contract runs a few more years. Um, I don't know. I don't know.
It's all about flexibility and staying flexible because we don't have to keep these guys, as you said, Queen, moving on. You know what I mean? So even if it don't work out this playoffs, you know what I mean, we could always flip those guys and get some other people, as you said, better players that's going to be available in the summertime. Right now, these guys was just as you say, a plug in, as you said, Aj, to try to even make us be more competitive, when we get to the playoffs and try we see if we could make a push in
Yeah.
this year's tournament. So I, you know, wouldn't be too out, I wouldn't be too worried, too concerned, because as I said, it takes time for the team to gel and everybody is not here. So, just give I think just give it some more time for him to get more familiar. But we need him on all cylinders, like right now, like ASAP tonight. If it's a game tonight that he needs to come out and be more aggressive and his shot selection be a lot better and they should make the offense a lot better tonight's the night against your old team Detroit. So Burks, we counting on you tonight to have a good game starting from tonight.
But I think it's there's one thing to shoot better and there's one thing to have a better floor game. So he can go out still doing the same, putting up these same bad shots and hit them. That's not an improvement for me. You know what I mean? I think his floor, if he's going to be in this role, his floor game needs to be a bit better. And by that meaning when to run the team, when to go for you. It's the same thing we were talking about
Right, right.
with with IQ. But listen, at the end of the day, it's possible he runs with Brunson or DiVincenzo in that second unit, and the he won't be the main guy. We don't have a lot of time, but we spend a lot of time on Burks. I think we're seeing from Bogey too. This is just one side of the court. He's going to be able to score for you, but defensively, he's going to get beat. He's not going to be able to really really defend his position. Um, and it's possible we may see in the playoffs some games where maybe he doesn't play that much because of that. Now, what I'm hoping is that Tibbs stays flexible. When we need offense, he'll go with Bogey. When we need defense, he'll go with Precious Achua. Like he'll be, as opposed to Bogey's not playing for the. He's
Gotcha.
not playing in these playoff series, even when we need shooting. So hopefully he stays. Hopefully he stays flexible.
But
Is it? Go ahead.
I was gonna say, but we knew that about Boyan Bogdanovic. So we knew that he wasn't, he was a cone. Okay, just not as bad as Evan Fournier, but we know he's like in that region, or when it comes to defense, and he's a better shooter than Fournier, I think. So the front office knew that. I'm sure their scouting report, the scouts tell them that. That's a decision to make. So we have to live with it. And Tibbs, like you said, he has to be flexible. He has to know when and how to use him and how long to keep him out there and so on and so forth.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And Queen, not for nothing. Like, let's say we had Bogdanovich last year in the Miami series. That that I don't know how many minutes, that 2 minutes of hell we went through when Brunson was on the bench and we lost our lead, our 8 point lead. With his no defense, he probably could have kept us afloat.
If
You
Tibbs
know what
would
I'm
have put
saying?
him in the
If
game.
Tibbs would have put him in there, because you in a situation like this, I'm pretty sure he would be a net positive to have him on the floor in that. So it's a calculation. I'm pretty sure the front office thought about all that.
I mean, I thought Fournier would have been a net positive too
Exactly,
in
and
that.
he would have been better, even better than Fournier. So he would have kept us afloat in that stretch.
All right. I'm gonna put up the where the Knicks are. I know it's kind of small. I'm not sure if you guys can see it, but
See,
the Knicks are 2.5 games behind Milwaukee for the third spot, but they're also 2.5 games out of 7, which is the plan. And so I know there's a lot of Knicks fans, and I want to know what you two think, and the chat can chime in as well, who feel like the Knicks players are playing too many minutes. I think Hart played over 40 something minutes last night, and that Thibodeau needs to get the minutes down, which means giving more minutes to a McBride, maybe more minutes to a Burks, maybe more minutes to a Bogdanovich to keep Achua and Hart's minutes down, and maybe even Brunson. Are we willing to do that, even if that means sliding back in the conference? Because you know coaches want to play their best players. If there's injuries and players are out, they would prefer to give their best players more minutes than those further down in the rotation, right? And so I know a lot of fans want that. They let's keep them fresh. Let's not play them so many minutes. But the risk is sliding down in the standings. Are we okay sliding down to the play-in as long as we're healthy, or do you feel like for this short period of time, you know, Achua and Hart and maybe even Brunson playing a little more minutes is okay? What's your thoughts on that? And I would like the chat to chime in as well.
No, I still think we could catch Milwaukee Bucks for that third spot. Um, Maybe even the second spot
Mm.
because I think it's not only me. I heard a couple other podcasts, still Nick podcasters say it also too. If you could try to get to either that 3 or 2 spot to avoid Boston in that first and second round, will be the best thing for us, right? So I don't think sliding down, is going to solve anything because as I think I seen Building Block said, it's too risky. I think it's too risky. We don't want to play the wrong team at the wrong time. You know what I mean? So I still say try to win as much game as possible to stay in the top 4, even if to get home court advantage, because it's very important. You know, um, these guys want to play. These guys is hungry. These guys are athletes. So Tom Thibodeau is gonna push the right buttons and the right people and the right personnel to be out there. Um, Hopefully he does make the right decision.
Mhm.
And guys are coming back. So, you know, So the minutes is going to be slowly dwindling down when you see guys coming. Right now, guys ain't coming back, so we gotta play our best players right now.
So
Right?
you're
We
okay with playing them extra minutes right now
Yes,
in the win?
yes, yes, yes. Because I'm not gonna play. I'm sorry, I'm not gonna play Jacob Toppin. I'm not gonna play that other guy that we just signed on a 10 day. I'm not gonna play these other guys. We need the guys that's gonna come in there who understands the system and know who Tom Trust is gonna play there. So I'm going with the extra minutes for the guys, yes. To answer your question, yes.
Yeah. Um, Ajay?
Right. So my take is different. Okay. I know the right thing to say, the popular thing to say is, hey, you win every game. You go out there to win every game, right? But here's the um I don't want to say the logic, but the odds, okay? Right now, if we stay where we are, we're on course to meet the Boston Celtics in the second round, right?
Mhm.
We cannot beat Boston unless they suffer injuries or some sort of thing. There's no way we're beating Boston in 7 games. We could beat them 1 game, 2 games. I don't see, like, we just don't have it to beat
Even
Boston
even when healthy?
in a 7 game series.
Yeah.
They're a better team than we are.
Mm,
Wow.
Boston Celtics are a
mm,
better team than we are. In
mm.
fact, Boston Celtics are the best teams in the league. I'm not. This is not news to you guys. I mean, they're
Playoff Boston, though. Playoff
well,
Boston.
but Queen, this playoff Boston, they're 1 year more experienced than they were last year. That
Okay.
makes a huge difference. And they have Kristaps Porzingis, and they have Drew Holiday, a champion. It's a huge difference from last year's playoff Boston.
I just wouldn't say no way. I think that's a bit strong. But I hear you if
It's
you say they're the favorite.
listen,
They are the
it's
favorite.
by a very large margin. They
Mm.
they they're the favorite by a very large margin. Okay, so no, I don't want us to be in the play-in because the play-in, all it takes is for you to go on a 1-2 game slide and you're out of it, right? But to be honest, the sixth spot is not terrible because that keeps you. So it's either your 2-3, which is harder to get to, and I mean second or third seed, which is very hard to get to. If we can get to that, then that's the place to be. That's our sweet spot right now because that keeps us away from that 1-8-4-5 bracket, which is on course to meet the Boston Celtics. So that 2-3-6-7 bracket is where you want to be. Of course, 7 is playing, so you don't want to be in there. So me, my personal best spot for the Knicks to be right now is either second seed, third seed, or sixth seed. Okay. I don't know where we're gonna end up with all the injuries. It looks like the six is more reachable than 2 or 3. That's all I'm saying. I know the right thing to say is we're gonna come in, we want to play every game. These guys are professional, they got pride, they want to win, but you have to look at the whole thing. You got to keep your eyes on the prize at the end of it.
Right. I mean, I hear what you're saying. Those would be, if you're trying to avoid Boston at all costs, those are the seeds you're going to be in. But there's no way you're going into a game and you're trying to land in the sixth spot.
Exactly.
There's just no way to do it.
Well, no, you can't because you don't know that there are so many moving parts.
Right.
You can't plan on being 6 seed
Right.
unless there's like 1 game left in the season,
Right.
and
Right.
But right now there's no way to plan it because there's so many moving parts. I'm just saying at the end, what would work? What like the and it's not, at least on paper, the better path for us is either second seed, third seed, or sixth seed.
Right. But at
Not
the end of the
you
day,
can't plan for it.
right. At the end of the day, if you're talking about winning a championship, you got to go through Boston.
Oh yeah,
Regardless.
absolutely,
You got to go through.
absolutely.
Yeah. All right.
And
Let's talk about.
and in terms of, I want to go back. Yeah, it was a little stronger. We can't beat Boston, but what I'm saying is, on record, on paper, and like you look at all the data, Boston appears to be a better team than we are, even when we're healthy.
on
Okay,
paper.
so it's
No, no doubt
it's no
about that.
surprise there.
No,
And listen, we know what happened last year when they played Miami. Like on paper, it was the same situation. On paper, there was no way Miami could have beat them, right? And
right.
what
And
happened?
they did. And they did. Exactly. Because that's
Anything
because
can
the
anything can
playoffs.
happen. But you look
It's
right
not
now,
just it's
we
not
can
just
o-
that. The playoffs are just different.
yeah, I'm just saying we can only look at it on paper, right? That's what we can go by. The paper, the regular season record, and so on and so forth. But in the playoffs, anything can happen.
But I still like our chances
Yeah, I
if
do.
we're healthy. Because to me, last night, I think Boston we could beat Boston. I just have a feeling if we were healthy, we could shut down those two guys.
I mean, shutdown is kind of make it tough for
Not
them.
not shut down, make it
But
tough.
make it tough. Yeah, I
Slow
agree.
them down. Yeah, let me not say that. Let me not say that. But make it tough. I think we will be right there with them, right there with them. But due to injuries, Boston, you could have it. But just make sure when the playoff comes, you handle your business. That's all I'm saying.
All right. So tonight we play Detroit, who's 8-48. Tomorrow we play the New Orleans Pelicans. So tonight is at home. New Orleans Pelicans also at home, 34-24. Then we play Golden State Warriors, also a home game, 29-27. And they've been playing well as of late since Clay has gone to the bench. And then Sunday we're in Cleveland. They're 37 and 19. Detroit is on a 5-game losing streak, and I know some feel comfortable. Oh, they losing. There's only but so many losses before you get a win, and hopefully that's not tonight. They're 15th in the Eastern Conference. We only played them one time. That's what it said on NBA.com, but I could have swore we played them more than that. They're 25th in offensive rating, 30th in defensive rating, 27th in net rating. If the Knicks don't, I don't care. I don't want to hear nothing. The Knicks win this game tonight at home. I don't care if we only suit up 6.
Hmm,
Like
hmm.
I don't want to hear no excuses. We're 2-6 over our last 8. 2-6.
You don't care if Tibbs suit up. If
Gotta
Tibbs
win.
is one of the players.
We gotta win this one.
And don't make Fournier hit the last shot and that's to win the game. Oh my God,
Yeah. Yeah.
Jesus.
28 is in the rotation. As he's in the rotation.
Mhm.
Grimes has been back for 1 game. Remember, he was injured. He's been back 1 game, so he played the last game. But since 48 has been there, he's been in the rotation. So trust me, he's gonna be on tonight.
Nah. I ain't
You
worried
don't
about
think so?
Fournier. Nah.
All right. Okay.
He's gonna have a
Trust
regular
me,
game.
Fournier
Oh,
gonna have vengeance in his heart, Aj. Trust me.
yeah.
Even if he go 1 of 9, he gonna let it fly tonight.
Right. Hey, I hope so. I hope he let it fly and goes 1 for 9. But
But we gonna tear him up on the offensive end.
exactly.
Tibbs gonna exploit that his defensive deficiencies. We gonna attack him all the way. Anytime, anybody, whoever is on him.
Right. Then we play New Orleans. They've lost 2 straight. They're 7th in their conference, the Western Conference. We've lost to them actually the last time we played them. They're 14th
Beginning
in
of the
offensive
season.
rating, 6th in defensive rating, 7th in net rating. So that's a quality team there. I know some guys are going to miss games because of the altercation with the Miami Heat. I'm not sure who'll be out tomorrow. Then Golden State, like I said, they're 10th in their conference. We haven't played them this season. 10th in offensive rating, 18th in defensive rating, 13th in net rating, but they're on the rise. They've been rolling as of late. And then Sunday, Cleveland. Cleveland is on a tear. They won their last game. They're 2nd in the Eastern Conference. We're 1-1. We played them early in the season, in October, end of October, maybe early November. They're 15th in offensive rating, 2nd in defensive rating, and 4th in net rating. This is a quality team. I wish we were at full strength. Um, I'm to me, they're a more balanced team than Milwaukee. I know Milwaukee is more top heavy, but when I look at the Eastern Conference and I look at Milwaukee, I'm like, yeah, I'm not as concerned about them. But this Cleveland team, they have a star, they have shooting, they have rebounding, they have, rim protectors. They're legit. Cleveland is legit. So I'm actually looking forward to that game. OG Ananobi will be somebody correct me if I'm wrong, reevaluated the end of this week. And so maybe he'll be back next week. Maybe the end of this week is Friday and he'll be ready for the Sunday for Sunday's game. But if not, hopefully he's back sometime next week. Thoughts on tonight's game and just these four games? Tip off is usually around 7:10. It's already 7:01.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, it could be a trap game. I know you said we have to win this game by all costs, but uh, it could be a trap game. But I mean, we obviously, even with the guys that are out, we still are better. We still have more talent than Detroit at this point. So we should win this game, and hopefully we do. Because all these games that we're supposed to win, I mean, we really have to win them. It's a must. It's no longer, we can't afford to not win those games. Do you know what I'm saying? So we got to do what we have to do to, and every now and then Jalen Brunson is due for an off night, and I hope tonight's not the off night. You know what I'm saying? So I hope we come in, we do what we got to do, and we should be able to win the game. So hopefully we do.
Okay. All right. And you have us going 3-1 this week, you said?
No, I didn't make a prediction.
That was me, Queen, when we
that
were
was
talking earlier.
Oh, when we was talking earlier. Okay.
Yeah.
3-1.
Yeah. I say 3-1. I say we win tonight. We win New Orleans. We win at Golden State, and I think we drop in Cleveland. So I think we go on a 3-game winning streak, and I think we lose to Cleveland. So yeah, I think we go 3-1 this weekend tonight. I want Burks to show out tonight. I don't want to take this team lightly, Queen. It's still an NBA team. They still got little young players that's hungry. The Ivies, the Cadens, the Cades, the Durans, so I wouldn't sleep on this team. They're going to be coming out hungry for a win. So we still got to win. We still got to go out and play hard. So I'm not going to take this game lightly, but I want us to win tonight.
Well, Kenny Payne, those are early games, man. You can't stay up for these 7 o'clock games. Come on, man. They're not that boring.
Maybe he's if he's on the West Coast, this is an early game, right?
Yeah. I mean, they're not that boring. Stay up, man. Stay up.
Yeah. Anyway, shout out to the chat. I just wanna Our MBK family of shows, we got you covered. Pre-game, post-game, to shoot around with Simeon Russell, the creative channel. Shout out to Sim. The NBA wrap-up with Ron and Still Nick fans, who was also in the building at the watch party. Always good to see him. The controversy with Josh, aka Uncle Fulio. The Losers Lounge with Tony. We're 2-6 over our last 8. It hasn't been a lot of Losers Lounge. With Tony of Knicks and Bruiser. Shout out to Tony who couldn't make it tonight. Live shows and videos by International Andy, who will be in the United States in March. I think we're gonna go to that Philadelphia game and meet Andy. Queens Court right here with yours truly of Dope Soul Sports Talk. Be sure to, if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel. And again, special programming and events by Sim. Any quick last words before we out of here? Shout out to the chat again.
Yeah, hit the like button, man. Makes Sam happy.
Yes.
Shout out to the MBK family. Shout out to the Podfather. Sim, as usual. Queen has always been a pleasure. And Ajay, you already know. Salute to the chat.
Sure. And salute to you guys. Let's go get that dub.
For sure.